Hello and welcome to Chartbusters. Well, this is the show where we highlight all the buzzing stocks of the day. We'll also get in a couple of managements and we'll tell you what's the big trade on the Nifty. As we speak, we're as flat as can be. The mid-cap index is trading in the red, so that should come up for you in the screen. And the Nifty Bank as well, under some pressure. In fact, now it's down close to around 100 points approximately. Today, remember, it's a weekly expiry, so quick check on the options data then. The 11,600 call should come up for you on the screen. That is fairly active today. The 11,700 call as well. Both those two strikes, they are quite active, so I'll keep an eye out on that mark. Remember, we are at around the 11,580 approximately. So the 11,600 mark, 11,620, 630 mark. That's where, in fact, the bears will look to defend. Now we have that premium that started off at around 32 rupees odd. That's come down to around 20 rupees. So those that are writing this particular strike, they're hoping to defend that mark. 11,600 call plus the premium. So that's around 30 to around 40 rupees, depending on when exactly they did write that. Hey, Maglam.
Hi, Nigel. Take your point completely on the 11,600 call bit. Weekly options expiry, usually, the smart money looks to eat into the premium of both the calls as well as puts. So I'll pull up the 11,600 put out there. The premium is close to around 25 rupees. So with 11,600 call and put together, the premium would be close to around 40 odd rupees. So is the street bracing itself for a bit of a range of 11,560 to 11,640 is something that the street will be watching out for. Why 560? Because over the last couple of trading sessions, the Nifty has bounced back from levels of 11,549, 11,559, 11,569. So 550 to 560 looks like a bit of range from where we've seen some support. So 11,600 call, as Nigel pointed out, and 11,600 put together, the premium would be close to around 40 rupees. Is the street playing for that range or not is something we will watch out for. But first up, all the top stories that we're tracking this morning, and then go ahead and get cracking on individual stories. Sun Pharma, that stock is under pressure today. The stock is among the top Nifty losers as the US FDA issues 11 observations to the company's Dadra unit.
Well, Jet Airways is in focus after CNBC TV18 learns that 4 expressions of interest, including NIIF, TPG Cap, Indigo Partners, and a consortium of equity, Redcliffe Capital, they have been submitted to the lenders as of last night.
SpiceJet, that stock surges after sources tell CNBC TV18 that the airline is looking at leasing at least 10 to 12 deregistered planes of Jet Airways.
Well, and Ujjivan is moving on rather large volumes after sources tell CNBC TV18 that Nitin Chugh of HDFC Bank is likely to be the new CEO of Ujjivan. The RBI nod for Chugh's appointment is expected in a week's time.
Rock-hard gains after the US drug regulator gives an approval for the company's cancer drug. Dacogen generic has a market size of $120 million.
Okay, all right. The markets, if we're looking at the mid-cap space, it's not looking very, very comforting out there. Actually, you have more number of stocks that are declining in comparison to the number of stocks that are advancing. So let's get the crisscross lines up for you on the screen. And not just that, some of these stocks are coming for profit booking. Suzlon, I remember the stock went to around 3.5 rupees. It moved all the way closer to 7 rupees. Now that's come off the high point of the day. It's falling actually, and volumes are quite large. You have Equitas as well. You pull up the intraday chart out there. Remember the stock trading in the green. Now that's come off the peak. And even JSPL, now that's under some pressure in today's trading session. So we should get that stock as well up for you in the screen. In terms of JSPL, I was just looking at some unconfirmed reports. They're saying that the promoter, Naveen Jindal, he may not go ahead and contest this elections. Actually, that will be positive because, from a stock market point of view, you want the promoter just to focus on the business. So, both ways to look at it. You'd like a promoter who's in palm. I remember when he lost the 2014 election, the stock did see a sharp downtick at that point of time as well. So those are a few stocks that we're highlighting. But how do you trade the Nifty from here? Today is expected to be a rather volatile day because, in fact, it's the weekly expiry. Prakash Gaba joins us to help us figure a trade on the Nifty as well as the Nifty Bank. Prakash.
Well, Nifty looks like there is support in the lower region, some buying in the lower region. So if he bounces back, where does it go from here? Perhaps I feel 11,640 or maybe 11,700 is a possibility, I would say, on Nifty. It can climb up there. But looks like in the lower region, there's support. It may spend some time here. A bounce perhaps could take it. But the problem is the Bank Nifty. Bank Nifty is stretched to the downside. It's stretched so much that possible a bounce would come in. If that happens, then maybe 29,950 is a possibility there. So there is a possibility of a bounce, but if it happens or not, it's difficult to say. But yes, there is a possibility. Not much downside here.
All right, not much downside here. Prakash, your picks?
I have two stocks, one long, one short. I think Mahindra M&M certainly is looking good to me. We could see an up move from here. Good tick has happened, and possible target on the upside is in the vicinity of around 690. May take today, maybe tomorrow, but looks like 690 is possible on Mahindra M&M. Stop below 667 should be okay. The stock that looks weak is from the metals pack is Steel Authority of India. Looks like we could see a slide to around 55 zones. Stop about 58 should be okay.
All right, a couple of questions, Prakash. You know, the two stocks that are buzzing as we speak in an otherwise weak mid-cap market, we have V-Guard Industries, which has recovered from the lows, and we have Voltas as well, which has recovered from the lows, currently trading at the high point of the day. Remember, just a few weeks ago, we had the management of both these companies joining us on CNBC TV18 saying that there is some slackening of demand, but they expect demand to resume once summer sets in. If you walk out on the road, you know how hot it is. So do you think that summer has set in, some demand has come in or not? That's a question for the dealers, of course. The charts, what do they suggest?
We are fortunate we are sitting in an air-conditioned room here. It really is bad. Well, I feel as far as V-Guard is concerned, basically we have seen a good up move and we are in a mode of some kind of a consolidation. And there's a very strong support in the vicinity of 250 and 280 zones. So even if it dips, it wouldn't worry me. I think upside is on. We can see a move. Perhaps it may take some time or so, but looks like possibly up to 235 is a possibility on V-Guard. As far as Voltas is concerned, the stock looks good to me. Exactly similar as the senior, strong support in the vicinity of 600. Give some time and space. I think 650 is on the cards. For that, I need some more time. But 650 looks possible here.
Prakash, is it time for coffee? I mean, we've just missed that, but if someone is getting up late, Tata Global Beverages, you know, just looking at that stock, the mid-cap index is looking a little wobbly, but maybe some coffee will wake you up. Prakash, is it time to wake up? The stock is moving higher.
Yes, good morning, wake up time.
For those who had a good night, you know, waking up rather late. But well, how's the stock looking?
Nigel, you picked it right. It's a beautiful setup from a higher time frame basis. When you look at a chart, there's a buying opportunity here. It has given a buying priority somewhere closer to around 200, 202 zones. Give some time and space. I think it's heading to levels closer to 230 zones. So it's up from here. It's 213 now. So good 15 rupees possibility is there. It's a setup that we buy and hold for a while and let the stock unfold its time.
All right, fair point there. You know, it's such a timely thing. Nigel, you're talking about coffee. They have a business called Tata Tea. And if you remember the Tata Tea campaign, it's called Jago Re. And that is for people to go ahead and vote on day one. Yes.
Participate in all those debates, do all of that, you know. But go out there and vote. That's your, you know, responsibility and your duty as a citizen of our country.
Absolutely, that is expected. In fact, this morning we were talking about it. The number of people who do not vote in this country is 30 crores, and the number of people in all of United States is close to 30 crores. So the number of people that it takes to make the world's most powerful person, who is the President of the United States of America, which is conventional wisdom, known as the most powerful person in the world, are the number of people who do not vote in India. So that's the sort of opportunity that we're squandering away.
Absolutely, Mangalam. Good point you're making out there, talking about the United States, but I think your heart and head is in Europe. But we'll talk about that at a later time. Let's move on. Let's tell you about the commodity space. Manisha joins in to give us a complete wrap of what's going on in the commodity and currency space. Manisha, over to you.
Nigel, thank you so much for that. Well, the crude oil prices, let's begin with that. And the international markets, even as they are trading 0.5% on the weaker side, we have been able to hold above that $71 per barrel mark. So the Indian markets, while of course taking in account on what's happening in the international space, we are still holding around those 4,400 kind of levels there, mirroring what's happening in the international markets. But as I said, we are still trading on the higher side of the range. And that comes in because the world global demand for crude has touched 100 million barrels per day and only expected to move higher from here. The markets are working with some kind of a deficit in this quarter. The balance between demand and supply seems to have been met, are the kind of reports that we have seen come in from ING Bank, Goldman Sachs, etc. The only reason that you have seen that pull and push come in for the crude oil prices is that the US Department of Energy tells you that there is a surge in the crude inventories by 7 million barrels, but the gasoline inventories have seen a decline by 7 million barrels. That is the reason you have seen that contradiction numbers come in. Apart from that, it also has been about the unrest in Libya and Venezuela, and the markets also are looking at the huge build-up in case of net long positions from hedge funds and money managers. Even as there are growth concerns in the global markets, crude oil prices continue to sit with their 30 to 40% gains in both of those crude varieties. Take a look at the gold and silver prices then, and we have seen some pressure coming on that. Even as the US dollar has declined, the markets are really reacting to the international cues right now. There are now Brexit deadlines being said. That is one thing. The US yesterday in the Fed meeting minutes has said that there is a chance, a minute though, of yet another interest rate hike before this year ends, and that doesn't augur well for the precious metal prices. So even as we did see a 2-week highs yesterday, it has gone in for some profit taking today.
Isha, thanks a lot for that. So that's about the commodities arena. Before we slip into a short break, we were talking about coffee. So coffee is being consumed. What is not being consumed are pizzas. Pull up Jubilant Foodworks. That one's at the low point of the day. Down about 22 rupees right now as we speak. The stock trades at 1387. At the low point of the day for Jubilant Foodworks, down about 4% this month. Interesting, Nigel, you know, it's the time where there is IPL, there is the World Cup which is following the IPL, and history tells one that during the sporting matches and all of that, a lot of pizzas are consumed. And there was a report earlier by HSBC which did a lot of consumer surveys and said pizzas and Chinese food dominate the list of food items that people order in their houses. Yes, the stock is expensive at around 50 times, so at the low point of the day.
Yeah, I mean, good point you're making. You know, people during matches, they go ahead and order a lot of this stuff. I don't mind one, even for lunch, Mangalam.